Well, hello there everyone, welcome back to some more Suzerain, Kingdom of Rizia. Hey, Regional Alliance talks Morella to join, Velen backs out, it's fine, Dirdia to join, Palais to join. Join talks at least. Okay, Kinal's Anti-Piracy Summit. MITZ successfully nationalized. Okay, now, roundtable discussion on proposed South Mercopan alliance. Let's see how this goes. I gathered in Port Drazon with Lorento and the other members of my proposed South Mercopan alliance. For this occasion, I had chosen the Amethyst Room, a circular chamber on one of Palaz Resna's top floors. At its center was a round mahogany table with sparkling amethyst inlays embedded along its edges. Their violent hue matched the silk drapes lining the walls. Pedestals nestled around the circumference displayed alabaster busts of Queen Liza and my many other ancestors dating all the way back to Count Resna. Ruler upon ruler, each with their own approach to diplomacy and conflict. None had attempted an alliance as ambitious as the one I was hoping to realize today. Lorento and I exchanged nods. It was time for the meeting to begin. Dear esteemed guests, I thank you for joining me today. My tablemates wore proud expressions. I will start with a roll call. Prime Minister Alma Sultana of Morella. Morella leader stood up and gave a firm nod. I look forward to working with you all on building a resilient and unified South Mercopa. Supreme Wiseman Yorga Asmal of Durdia. Asmal rose and made the hand sign indicating the 6 pillars of Ruhikism. I am ready to seal the holy bond that was written for our countries in the stars. Duke Axel Reinhardt of Palais. Axel smiled as he rose from his chair. All glory to the King of Rizia for extending this unique opportunity to us. Everyone sat down. As the main initiator of the tentatively titled Inter-Mercopum Alliance, Rizia is prepared to offer resources to get the project off the ground. I will let His Majesty explain more about our intentions. Okay, let's go for national security. I think is the one that would benefit us most at the moment. In a world dominated by ATO and the CSP, it's vital that our nations focus on bolstering each other's national security. Saw nods of agreement around the table. My kingdom cannot make any concrete commitments in this arena, but I hope you all recognize the importance of mutual defense. Few of my teammates looked skeptical. Rento gestured for me to proceed. Okay, so that was not great. Sure. In today's ever-shifting economic climate, establishing financial stability should be of the utmost priority. I cannot afford -3 per turn. I cannot afford -5, but still. I shall contribute a generous sum towards the founding of a joint financial reserve. The oil and gas agreements form the backbone of this alliance. I propose we work further towards establishing energy independence. A first step towards this will be the creation of a strategic energy stockpile towards which Rizia is prepared to contribute heavily. That is my proposal. I hope that everyone is on board with it so far. The others seem neither displeased nor particularly impressed. Now we have dedicated a portion of today's meeting to go through each nation's individual concerns about this alliance. With whom should we start? Sure, Supreme Wiseman Asmal, what does Durdia think about the terms of Inter-Mercopum so far? I agree to everything the Lord has truly smiled upon us this day, Your Majesty. As Saint Ruhak himself foretold, our nations will rise like the great phoenix. Excellent, thank you. Welcome to our alliance, Supreme Wiseman. We are happy to help Rizia end its years of isolation at last. Prime Minister Sultana, what reservations does the Republic of Morella have? None, Mr. Torres. She took a long glance around the table. At least I have no concerns about your kingdom's role in this new alliance. I mean, we've proven ourselves to mediate disagreements successfully before, so there should be trust there. Should disagreements come up, you can count on Rizia to mediate them, as we have done before. Thank you, Madam Prime Minister. We will do what we can to engender trust between you and the other intermecompan members. And finally, Duke Reinhardt, does Palais agree to this alliance? I'd be a fool not to. Count the Grand Duchy in. Sure, needless to say, I hope our kindness will be reciprocated. Yes, thank you, Your Grace. I assume you will make our membership in... I assure you we will make your membership in Intermerkoppen worthwhile. Hush came over the room. That's it then, we have an alliance. That was easy. Nations of Intermerkoppen unite! This day shall go down in history. The others applauded. All of the individual points we discussed today will be formalized shortly, but for now, I have prepared an official statement of intent for you all to sign. He unrolled a scroll of vellum on the table. The heading on it read Intermerkoppen Declaration of 1957. One by one, my partners walked to the head of the table to sign it. Thank you once more for all of your efforts, Mr. Torres. Alma Sultana printed her name in precise block lettering. We are uniting the ancestral lands of Saint Ruhak just as his lord has prophesied. He signed his name, then drew 6 stars around it. Nice one, Your Majesty. Come celebrate in Palais anytime you wish. Axel scrawled his signature across the bottom of the page. I slowly walked to the head of the table and picked up the pen. Romus the Great Unifier. Yeah. King Romus Torres, ruler of Rizia and Peri, Valenquis, Brandis, Cadazim, and the Glara, and the ancient lands of Resonance, descendant of the most honorable Queen Liza and the King Valero, and the sovereign of the Kingdom of No, just sign as Romus Torres. I stood together with the other leaders of Intermerkoppen, admiring our handiwork. It was done. My ambition of South Merkoppen Regional Alliance had been realized. Now all I had to do was tell Queen Beatrice. Okay, got an achievement for forming the alliance. My budget just jumped. Incredible. Oh no, my budget went down considerably. I was looking at authority instead of budget. That's fine. Okay, everything seems fine. And I got a lot of authority, which is awesome. +3 for Intermerkoppen, +2 reclaimed territories. Awesome. Okay, tens of thousands of worshippers expected. Walker wins occasion election, stabilizing Ventry City amid economic stagnation. Intermerkoppen alliance declared. Okay. Sure. Valksland offers 8. I like money. Commercial access to appear. Offering substantially to Rizia. I mean, commercial access, not military. And I like money. Oh, and just 2 budget, not 2 budget per turn. Ah, sad. Still, it's 2 more budget than I had a moment ago. And with all of this authority, I will be making a lot of decisions when it's the end of the turn. Okay, Rizia accepts Valkish 8. And high tea with Queen Beatrice. Time to tell her that we have gone our own way. The grandfather clock of the tea room of Rambleton Manor let out a series of deep resonant chimes. Queen Beatrice had invited me to her countryside retreat in Dateford for a one-on-one talk, but she hadn't filled me in on the subject. I didn't care what she wanted to talk about. I was glad to get away from the capital and see my sister-in-law. I looked down at the table in front of me. A white porcelain plate and teacup were surrounded by roughly a drawer's worth of silverware. I remember my late wife lovingly instructing me on the particulars of Rumburgian high tea etiquette. The uttermost spoon was for spreading jam on scones, the middle spoon was exclusively for stirring tea, while the inner spoon was for eating petit fours. Just as the clock's fifth chime sounded, the Queen of Rumburg materialized in the doorway, flanked by her attendants. Sure, rise to greet her. We're family, after all. I rose from my seat in greeting. Oh, come now, Your Majesty, it's just us two. She gestured for me to sit down, then took her own seat across from me. A white-gloved server came by and poured us both tea, then set down a tiny bowl of sugar. Okay, middle spoon. Okay. Stir sugar with the middle spoon. Picked up the middle spoon and used it to stir some sugar into my tea. Beatrice smiled approvingly and did the same. Sir Majesty, I suppose you know why I asked you to join me here. I can hazard a guess. You have turned your back on your most loyal of trade partners, and rubbed salt in our wounds with the formation of your silly little regional alliance. You are allowing populist sentiments to dictate the direction of your kingdom. What's next? You'll hand over the throne? You allowed our brethren in the once proud confederation of Venetian to fall victim to chaos. Hey, I aided them, and furthermore, our server returned with a silver tray of piping hot scones and a crystal rampkin rose hip jam. Okay, that's the outer spoon. Picked up the outer spoon and used it to spread jam on one of the scones. You remember your tea etiquette. Very good. But that is not enough to mend the rift between us, Your Majesty. She drew herself upright and stared coldly. I have spoken to the others. Your Grace membership has been rescinded, effective immediately. I harbor no ill feelings towards your decision. You will always be family to me. If I happens to see you while visiting Vina, I will be cordial. That's all I can promise. That's cold. Our server cleared the uneaten scones from the table. Two of his colleagues steadily put down a towering entourage spilling over with petit fours. Give Queen Beatrice the middle finger. Sure. Eat petit four with the inner spoon. I picked up the inner spoon and used it to eat one of the petit fours. Well, I'm glad we can at least enjoy our tea like civilized people. Sure. Civilized compared to whom? I will give you one guess. We stood up and shook hands as her attendants escorted me out of the room. I took one look back at the almost full cup of tea on the table. I never liked it anyway. Well, got kicked out of Grace. Got an achievement for using the correct spoons and for getting kicked out of Grace. Okay, Return of Zilla speech. Excellent. I walked alongside my mother through her dilapidated childhood home. The familiar scent of salt water filled the air, prompting old memories to rush back to me and a single word to escape my lips. Zilla. Mother briefly paused when she reached the bedroom, gazing gracefully at the peeling paint on the walls. I really have missed this place, despite the dismal state. Sure, we'll fix it up so that it's exactly the way it was. Nothing will exactly the way it was, darling. We can't bring back the past. But bringing back the house, that would be lovely. I look forward to the day when I can come here without being reminded of the pain of what we lost. It was a difficult time for all of us, but it's over now. Thank Das for that. She stopped before turning to face me. I'm proud of you, son. If not for your leadership, this house and so many others would have been lost forever. Sure, it was my duty, mother, for our kingdom and for our family. And you fulfilled that duty admirably, my dear. The only thing left to do now is decide who's in charge. The distant tolling of a bell tower interrupted her words. Time to go, the festivities will be starting soon, and someone here is scheduled to give a speech. With a nod of acknowledgement, we left her childhood home behind. As we made our way through the city, I felt a sense of renewal. The street bustled with activity, alive with the energy of the festival. The once damaged tenement buildings now stood proudly freshly repainted to conceal the scars of the past. Before long, we passed a sign for Smolak Square, where the event was being held. Should have the square's name changed as soon as humanly possible. Sure, true change comes from within. Our focus should be on uplifting people's spirits before we tackle the tasks of renaming squares. If that's what you believe there, then I won't argue. As my mother and I stepped out of the car, we were met with a sea of cheering faces, their palpable enthusiasm filling the air. I spotted a group of ATA volunteers proudly waving Rizian flags. On the other side of the square, a group of Durdian Golcondists led a series of victorious-sounding chants. AN peacekeeping forces were dispersed throughout the crowd, watchful for any sign of trouble. Walking towards the center of the square, I couldn't ignore the solemnity of the moment. There, where the former grandstand once stood, there was now a memorial to the victims of the bombing. Memories of that fateful day flooded back to me, the chaos, the screams, the confusion. It was long before I was led to the podium to deliver my speech. Mother gently placed her hand on my arm, stopping me. Good luck. Sure. Thank you. I'll do my best to represent our kingdom with dignity and grace as you have. A smile graced her lips before she gave me a light kiss on the cheek. As I stepped onto the stage and took my place behind the podium, the crowd erupted in applause. It was then that I noticed my daughter and her husband sitting on the very front row, Minus's eyes met with mine. Next to him, Angelica Sazon wore a deadly serious expression on her face. The applause subsided, I began to speak. Sure. My subject today would bring a somber moment as we witness the return of Zilla, a land marred by suffering and division. The path before us was arduous, but in the end we've persevered. To the resilient people of Zilla, I offer my deepest sympathies. Your resilience in the face of adversity was a beacon of light in such dark times. Looking back on what you endured, remembering the solidarity that sustained you, in shared suffering, you found the strength to persevere. Cheers erupted once more. I myself attach many happy childhood memories to Zilla. It holds a special place in my heart. Sure, I hope that House Sazon will take good care of it once it is reincorporated into Brennas. Angelica Sazon stood and applauded fearlessly. Manos and Vina joined her. A group of Sazon supporters began chanting Glorious Access Sazoni. Some audience members joined them while others sat their arms crossed, looking dissatisfied. I motioned for a crowd to quiet down. I had to finish my speech. While the road to liberation was fraught with challenges, overcoming those hardships has helped us emerge stronger than ever before. So let us honor the memories of those we have lost and the dreams that have been shattered along the way. May the sacrifices of those who fought for freedom guide us forward with resilience and hope. As I finished my speech, the crowd broke into loud cheers, once more their joy reverberating through the square. I'm really banking favor with the Sazons, and I hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. Local Zilla representatives approached me holding a letter portfolio containing the legislation that would officially reunify Zilla with Rizia. I accepted it, quickly scanning its contents before taking up the pen. And without a moment's hesitation, I signed my name, fulfilling a promise now complete. I glanced over at my mother. She had tears shining in her eyes. Offering her a reassuring smile, I turned back to the crowd, the memory of their praise etched into my mind forever. Okay, Zilla's back. We got more money coming in. Okay, +3 for reclaimed territories now. Excellent. Okay, Grace terminates my membership. Zrilo recomporated into Brennas. From occupation to reunification, Zilla's journey to sovereignty. Farewell, Queen Beatrice. Rizia falls from grace. Okay, reform conversations. This is an eventful episode, isn't it? Okay, the palace was eerily calm and quiet as I waited for the key people whom I need to support our reforms. They were about to arrive to discuss the planned constitution that would democratize Rizia. A representative from each noble house was invited. I shifted my seat, scanning the room as the invitees walked in. Hugo was at the front as my Grand Vizier and the main representative of House Taurus. He also brought my cousin with him, for fuck's sake, insisting that they would be representing House Taurus together. Musita, representing House Azaro, entered with a confident salute. Angelica of House Sazon was last to walk in. She gave only a cursory nod of acknowledgement to the others. On my gesture, everyone walked toward their seats around the conference table. Sure. I understand there has been some concern about transferring my powers to the House of Delegates. Please have a seat and let's discuss this like rational people. Yes, we shall do that. They exchanged wary glances before taking their seats. I know all of you. I know all of you have your own personal opinions and concerns about this. This is the time for you to speak your minds, each and every one of you, so we can settle this once and for all. Very well, if I may. Manus cleared his throat and started speaking loudly as if he was giving a speech in the House of Delegates. We're gathered here today because of the reason people have made their demands clear. If Rizia is going to ensure its prosperity, it must first ensure the freedom and the well-being of its citizens. This renewed and written constitution represents the will of Rizia, not only those who have wealth and power, but the true spirit of the country. Changing times require us to adapt. We already have a parliament and elections. Neither a single person nor a council of appointed nobles should dictate the will of a vast country like Rizia alone. And the fact is, His Majesty agrees. The monarchy will stay in place, and the monarch will act as the head of state, but the true political power of the government will be left to the people as it should be. We ask everyone to cooperate and support the implementation of this constitution. With all due respect, I doubt that's going to work out. You're starting to sound like your father, Manus, to a dangerous degree. Well, as long as we can reach an agreement here today, the RNC is ready to work with the RPP on this. That is great to hear. His Majesty already supports the Constitution. He has granted you all the favor of inviting you here to provide your input. So I'd like to give the word to King Romus. Took a deep breath and looked around the table. Okay. Sure, let's try and appease them. First of all, I must point out that we are not getting rid of the monarchy, nor the very institutions that hold our kingdom together. I will transfer our legislative powers to the parliament and executive powers to the head of government. I will remain the head of state. Sure, I don't want to go down in history as another monarch who tried desperately to cling to power. It is my duty to ensure this transition is smooth and peaceful. Sure, our system is inefficient. Absolute rule within the hands of a few cannot manage the intricacies of the 20th century. We'll see that Azaro frowned in disapproval. Sure, let's appeal to their own self-interest. Let's be honest, we all would prefer to keep our massive wealth and our prestige as opposed to risking our heads trying to secure our political power, wouldn't we? Why even fight? They listened to me with no expression on their faces. And what about the contents of this Strath, Your Majesty? You are even abolishing the Royal Council. Sure, regarding the contents, sure. The Royal Council, transfer. Yes, the council will be abolished. Instead, the new head of government, Prime Minister, will form a cabinet and lead the ministers. The legislative branch will freely represent the people. No, sure. Let's be conservative in this, because we're trying to convince them. As the monarch, I will retain the final say over any legislation in order to protect the integrity of our kingdom. Sure. The nobility will be represented in the House of Lords and will act as a balance to the lower house. Any constitutional or structural changes will require the agreement of the upper house. Interesting. We'll also form a Supreme Court that will provide the necessary checks and balances to the legislative and executive branches. And as for the new government, I will appoint a transitionary Prime Minister to oversee the implementation of the reforms until the next election. And who would that be? I want it to be Manus, but yeah, Dara would be a compromise candidate. I think a compromise candidate would be a good play. As a compromise, I'd like to appoint Daria Darava as the head of government to oversee the transition. Barely disguised smile appeared on Daria's face. Your Majesty, we all read the proposal, and the inspiring speech you gave just now clearly lays out the reasoning for it. I am supportive of your plans and the new constitution. However, I'm curious to see what others think. I'm surprised Hugo is... I should have gone for Manus then. I'm surprised Hugo is in favor. Thank you for your support, Uncle Hugo. This means a great deal. We'll see this swiftly cut in. You cannot sway House Azara with your House of Lords. It doesn't ensure anything with its limited scope. I believe this proposal doesn't show the royal houses of Rizia the respect they deserve. I completely agree. For fuck's sake, I'm getting shit from the Sazons? After all I did to gather favor with you? Manus looked at her with a mixture of disappointment and surprise. Really? I'm sorry, Manus, but the Sazons have ruled Brenna judiciously for over a century. I don't want our proud province to fall victim to populist whim. I'm not asking for your cooperation. I will consider all of the points that were raised. I am ready to compromise. Everyone's eyes were locked at me. I don't like this, but sure. We'll give each royal house a seat in the judiciary. Each house can appoint a justice of their choosing. Lucita nodded in approval. That sounds good. Fuck you, Rico. Please do not appoint Rico, you fucking asshole. Oh, shit. You're gonna appoint Rico to the Supreme Court, aren't you? Sure, that's the most we will do. I will not make any more offers. Let's hear what everyone has to say. Very well. Let's resolve this. We can start with House Taurus. Let's start with Rico. I vote in support of the new constitution. I will follow my son with my support as well. House Azaru will be supporting it. As a representative of House Sazon, I cast my support for it. Congratulations, all the houses have agreed to support the reforms. Excellent. Congratulations, Mr. Sazon, well done. We'll go forward with it very soon. Thank you. After exchanging handshakes, we ended the meeting. I would see the reforms through. Excellent. Success. I actually passed something in this game. Modern Constitution imminent. I passed the Constitution in this game. I can't believe it. Okay, Zilla celebrates return. Zilla Unity Street Festival as a success. Okay, now. Decrees. Construction. Heavy industrial park. Costs a lot of energy. Don't need to strengthen the fortifications. Okay. Okay, allow free press. That's pretty much free. Election reform. Okay, next. economy. It's -1 energy a turn, though. -2 energy per turn, that's a lot. I need more energy, though. No, less. Construction. What can I construct that would help? Not much is the problem. Hey. I mean, I do need to construct support. I do need support vehicles because I have no income of that, and that's just -1 energy. Okay, so I'm out of money now. Anything else I can enact? I don't need to raise taxes. Okay, nothing I can afford right now. That is fine. Okay, -9 authority per turn is awesome. Queen Liza military vehicle plant announced. Press restrictions lifted. Voice of Rizia, media restrictions lifted. Excellent. Okay, Chapter 4, Scylla Orica. Okay, got another achievement. Okay, completing Chapter 3. What's next? Signing the 1958 Rizian Chapter of Fundamental Law. That will be left for the next episode. Thank you all very much for watching. As always, I have been Pope. Please do remember to like, comment, and indeed subscribe. And I will see you all next time.